Welcome back to another video from Power Director Made Simple. Today's video is going to answer that age-old question if the range selection tool can be used on just an audio file. Now, everybody and his brother knows it works for video files, but what if you had an audio recording of a 2-hour-long speech but wanted to export just 3 minutes of it? CyberLink has made things easy by incorporating the Select Clip Range tool into both PowerDirector 365 subscription versions and the Ultimate versions. The functionality of this tool has changed slightly over the past few versions for subscription users. Some thought the tool was entirely eliminated, but it has always been there. Now here's an image of what the range selection tool used to look like. The little yellow flags were always connected to either side of the playhead until the user would specifically drag the yellow nodes on either side to designate a selected range. Beginning in July of 2024, this range selection tool had the yellow nodes repositioned to appear at the beginning and ending of your project whenever the tool was activated. So let's see what this current version looks like and what is different if it is used on only an audio file. I'm going to drag down a 90-minute long audio recording, which is actually a compilation of 25 different songs of Halloween music. There is one particular song that I want to isolate that is somewhere near the middle. By previously listening to this compilation, I know that it starts at 25:36:03 on the timeline. I'll enter that in the time code of the preview window, and my playhead instantly moves to that position. Just for references purposes, I'll place a timeline marker there by pressing the letter M. Now I have to figure out where the song ends. Looking at the waveform, there seems to be a momentary dip in the waveform at around the 29-minute mark. So I'll temporarily move the playhead there, and then I'll zoom in greatly on the timeline until I can confirm that is indeed where the song ends and the next one begins. The exact position where this song ends is at around 28:42. So I'll place another timeline marker there by pressing M. Next, I'll zoom out slightly so that we can see the entire song between the two timeline markers that I added. Remember, all of these techniques apply to whether you are selecting a portion of a single video clip, multiple clips on different tracks, or just a single audio track as I am dealing with here today. I'm going to show you two easy ways to do it. The first is relatively easy, and the second is even easier. The first step is to right-click on the clip and select Clip Range, or just hit the letter X on the keyboard. As you can tell, more than the portion that we wanted has been selected, so let's zoom out just to see how much has been pre-selected by PowerDirector. I'll click on the View Entire Video button above the timeline to the left. As you can see, the beginning yellow node is at position 0, while the ending node is at the end of the entire project. I'll place my cursor on the beginning yellow node until the cursor changes shape to a yellow triangle with a small double arrow under it. And I'll slide it over to the beginning of my song where the first marker is located. The node will snap to the marker. Now, to move the ending yellow node, I have to first move the view slightly to the right of the ending so that I can see it. I'll do the same with my cursor here by clicking on the yellow node and moving it towards the ending marker until it snaps to that position. I'll zoom in on our selected range just so that we can better see all of that portion. Now, for some information about the buttons that currently appear above the timeline. the copy and cut buttons have the same functionality as used in other editing functions. I could cut this selected range out, and as soon as I do that, there is now a paste button. If I move my cursor to the end by just hitting End on the keyboard, I can then hit the paste button and magically my song is now at the very end. I'll hit Control Z to undo all of that, and I'm back at where the range selection shows. The Remove button operates the same as the Cut button. If you remove a section, you can paste it elsewhere. Because it has the same function as the Cut button, why Cyberlink has left the Remove button in all these years, I don't know. And finally, there is the Export Range button on the right side. It has the same exact function as the main Export button at the top of the window. Once again, it's just another button that duplicates another button and should be removed. Unless you really think that those 3 milliseconds you save by not moving the mouse all the way up to the top are really that important. Now, let's click on the Export Range button to see what happens. The standard export window opens. First, I want only an audio file, so I'll click on Audio at the top. If I left it as a video file, I would end up with an MP4 video file of a black screen because I have no video on any track, but the audio would be just fine. I'll start by giving it a name that nobody else uses. So I'll type in the word test, T-E-S-T. I'm going to change the destination folder to D:/test/. Now everything else can remain as the defaults. Notice at the bottom it indicates that the duration to be almost 3 minutes and 6 seconds and a resultant file size of about 4.3 megabytes. If I click on Export, in about 2 or 3 seconds the file is created. I can then use Windows Explorer to verify that it is there and that it plays and sounds okay. I'll close the export window to return to PowerDirector. To get out of the range selection mode, I can click the X next to the ending yellow node or just hit on the Escape key on the keyboard. But now, here is the second method to designate the selection range, which you may find faster and easier. Now, remember before when I hit X to enable the selection mode? It automatically selected the entire clip, which just happened to be 90 minutes long. This time, I'm going to split the clip at the beginning and ending of the one song that I want. I'll move the cursor to the first marker at 25:36:03 and click on the knife icon to split the clip at that point. Next, I'll move the playhead to the second marker at 28:42:09 and split the clip again. Now I'll click on the clip to the left, which is the song that I want. And just so that we can get an appreciation of how this is going to work, I'm going to click on the icon to view entire video. My smaller clip is still selected, and at this point, it really doesn't matter where the playhead is, as long as the desired clip remains selected. I'll press X on the keyboard and notice that just the smaller clip is the only portion that has been selected for export. I don't have to bother with manually moving either of the yellow nodes. I can now export this clip just as before by clicking on Export. After the export window opens, this time I'm going to just cancel out and return to the main window because we've already been here. Once again, back in the main window, I'll hit Escape or I'll click on the X to close out the selection tool. And congratulations to anyone that is thinking ahead that, hey, I could just split that 90-minute compilation into the 25 separate songs and save each one out as a separate file. As you can see, it doesn't really matter whether it's a video or audio file. The range selection tool works just the same. And that's the way the tool works whether you're using the subscription version or the ultimate version. The only difference is where the yellowed nodes are initially positioned. If you haven't already used this tool, give it a practice try. But because it's coming up on Halloween, make sure that there are no werewolves around to spoil your fun.